Hi guys, this is the Reader, and this is my first video here on YouTube. I've had this idea to read multiple stories that I find from Reddit. You have Prorevenge, Rant, and other crazy stories that I can find. Usually see people reading creepy stories. So some of these for me, I just like the funny ones. I might find some creepy ones, but I don't know. I like the most outrageous or grody or just I don't know. Just some crazy stories. So I'm on Pro Revenge for this one, and I'm just trying to scroll through which one might be the best to read. Dang it, I found one. I'm recording this all on my phone. I don't have those fancy or video editing crap, or really a decent computer for that matter. So forgive me for the quality here. But anyways, okay, I like this one. A woman let her dog shit on the airport floor, so I shit on her plans. This is by the Stetter. And I guess I got 4 gold. Oh, okay. All right. Here goes. While walking to my gate at LAX, I noticed a woman whose dog was in the middle of doing its business. The woman was loudly FaceTiming with her back to the dog, so I assumed she didn't notice. That was likely the thought shared by the gentleman who tried to get her attention. "Excuse me, miss," he said in a polite tone. The woman glared at him. "Your dog," he sheepishly continued, pointed to the mid-poop pup. The woman rolled her eyes and went back to FaceTime as the man slinked away, seemingly embarrassed. "Some people," she bellowed to her FaceTime companion with no hint of irony, "are just so dang rude." When her dog finished, the woman started walking away, leaving everything right on the airport floor. Another woman tried to stop her. "You're not going to clean that up?" she asked, as shocked as the rest of us were. "They have people for that," the offender replied, disappearing into the crowd as much as someone yelling into their phone can disappear into the crowd. I stood near the pile and warned people to walk around it while someone else got a maintenance worker's attention. No one said anything. We were so shocked that anyone could be that horrible. When I got to my gate, the woman was there too. Great. We were both going to Tokyo. When I travel abroad, I get embarrassed by other Americans doing things 100 times less embarrassing than leaving animal feces on the floor of an airport. To make it worse, her dog was now barking at everyone who walked by. I have nothing against people flying with their dogs. I do it often. But it is a privilege I take seriously. My dog is well trained and behaves better than most people. He certainly behaves better than that a-hole. Speaking of a-holes, there is a pet relief area inside LAX, past security, just 2 gates away from where the party pooper let her dog go to town. It didn't matter. She was the type of person to litter 3 feet from an empty garbage can. While her dog barked at the world, the woman had moved from FaceTiming with no headphones to listening to music with no headphones. I don't like to throw around the word sociopath, but I don't know how else I could explain how selfish and terrible of a person she was. I bet her car was somewhere in a long-term parking, parked across 3 spots with paint on the bumper from the child's bike she hit without leaving a note. Everyone else tried to ignore her, sitting as far away from her as they could. I am not everyone else. I sat down, right next to the horrible woman. Are you going to London on business? I said. I'm going to Tokyo, she responded gruffly, annoyed, and I interrupted her DJing. Oh, I said, then you better hurry. That flight got moved to gate 53C. That is the flight to London. This is the flight to London. I figured I could give her a little moment of panic as payback for how terribly she was treating everyone. I didn't predict what would happen next. She grabbed her bags and her dog in a huff and stormed out of the gate without even checking. She was so self-involved, she didn't notice that the monitor at our gate still said Tokyo, and almost everyone at the gate was Japanese. Based on her actions, she believed me that the flight had been moved, so she's also an a-hole not thanking me. Some people, I thought, as I watched her rush away from the gate without stopping her, are just so dang rude. The flight to Tokyo was at gate 69A, so the 53 gates were on the other side of the next terminal, and I felt guilty knowing she probably berated some poor clerk who had to explain to her that there was no gate 53C. I don't know if she made it back to this flight before we took off or not, but I didn't see her board, and I don't hear her dog. Her missing her flight was not my original intention, but it would be a fine punishment for her being so rude to everyone and making a low-paid stranger clean feces off the floor, which made me wonder if I went too far, is the knowledge that Delta only has one flight to Tokyo each day. Whoops. Maybe she could rebook on another airline. I hear they have people for that. Edit, for those who want to play internet detective and demanded to see my ticket, as if that even proves anything. I'm a stand-up comedian in a show in LA last night and a show in Tokyo tonight. And if that's not enough for you, here's my ticket. And yes, Delta does allow dogs on flights. Edit, RIP inbox in a ridiculous 1,000-message way. Thanks to all the nice folks, especially the people who are coming to shows, etc. I'm trying to get to all your comments, but it may take me a few days. For those who are being dicks, I hope you wheel your suitcase into her dog shit. Okay, I think that was a funny video. Oh shoot, 8 minutes. Let's see. Should I do another one? Let me pause this real quick. No, let's go for this one. I like these fired ones. Alright, here goes. My manager was an awful person to me, but I got her fired in an embarrassing fashion. Years ago, shortly after I graduated high school, I got a new job to support myself during college. The new gig was in a pet store, and I was working in the department that sold the fish, aquariums, reptiles, and birds, etc., etc. The store manager was an awesome guy who I will call Kurt. Kurt was an old school guy. He went to work, worked hard, and went home. That's all he expected out of you as well. My immediate manager over my department was a large, snaggletooth witch of a woman, and I'll call her Stephanie. We got off to a bad start because she quickly found out that I knew more about reptiles than her. She preferred the fish, whereas I had kept snakes for the past 4 to 5 years. Her ego couldn't handle a fresh employee not needing her guidance. From then on, she was terrible to me. She singled me out to clean the goldfish tanks and had the other employees cover sales every day I worked. She would say rude things to me, such as, "You are a weak link, a weak link in my team. You are the reason I'm having problems in this department." Fast forward about a year, my hours had been cut by about 25%. I asked the store manager what the deal was, and he told me that our department had lost too much money between lack of sales and broken merchandise, etc. This puzzled me, but I didn't think much of it because everybody's hours were cut. Simultaneously, myself and a few coworkers had noticed something strange. Stephanie had recently taken much more interest in the customers. She insisted on helping certain customers and sending us to do busy work while they were there. A customer came in one evening and was talking to us about how nice Stephanie is. Turns out Stephanie was breeding mice and selling them to customers outside of the store. We found out she was breeding all of her animals, her dogs, turtles, mice, and selling them to customers she met through our store. Not only was this taking business from us, our store had a couple of corporate policies. We did not feed nor sell mice as live food for snakes, and we donated a lot of time and money to shelters that we condemned breeding dogs and cats for sales. Stephanie was making money by selling animals to customers, all the while her department had hours cut for all of its employees. It didn't quite make sense how this was costing us so much money until one evening I thought I had figured it out. Stephanie was an otherwise lazy woman, but when one of her customers came in, she was by their side the whole time. I watched closely as she followed a customer around, helping them pick out a cart full of expensive aquarium decorations and terrarium supplies like lights and bulbs. I followed and wrote down every item she grabbed. I wanted to see where this went. She directed the customer to a register and went to check them out. She's lazy and would never do this for any other customer. I noted the time and went back to work. I later spoke to other cashiers about Stephanie checking customers out, and they said that she only ever rang up certain customers and she acted weird when they did it. They suspected she was abusing coupons for them or applying hefty discounts. I got my coworkers to corroborate my story about the under-the-table animal sales and suspicious behaviors, and I went to talk to Kurt. I handed him a paper with about 20 UPCs and the time written on it, and I said, "I think if you look up a transaction from Register 2 at this time last night, you will find a large discount applied to it. These are the items I would expect you to find on that transaction." He was a bit puzzled, and I explained everything to him. I told him I didn't want to make any accusations before because I wasn't sure. But after seeing her in action, I was pretty sure something was going on. He thanked me and assured me he would look into it. A couple weeks later, I was at work, and I noticed Kurt was standing near the door watching closely. It just so happened Stephanie was coming in for her shift right about that time. The second she walked through the door, he called her over to his office. Apparently, waiting in his office was a regional manager from corporate. He looked at the list I gave him and looked up transactions from the night before. He found one at the exact time I wrote, but it had about half the items I listed, but every item that was on the receipt was on the list I gave him. This prompted him to watch her for a few weeks, and in that time frame, they found her to be taking her customers around shopping, personally taking them up to the register and scanning every other item and putting the expensive stuff into the cart without ringing it up. In that time span, she had given away over $1,500 in merchandise, and he looked back at the logs we keep for broken merchandise that is written off and found on excessive amount of aquarium supplies and decorations that were signed off by her. It was something like 1,000% more written off broken merchandise than was found at the same time last quarter. All in all, she was charged with stealing, defrauding the store, and over $3,500 in merchandise. And it just so happened that Kurt had already arranged for the police to meet them after firing her to escort her out. I don't know if she went to jail, but I did watch her get walked out by the police with about 20 employees staring. I wish I could have said something, but I had to settle for her making eye contact with me as she walked out, to which I gave her a quick wink. I think that was a good one. Anyways, I think that's about it. This is running on quite too long. But yeah, hopefully I'm if this gets any attraction, I guess I'll keep making more. Actually, I'm gonna keep making more anyways. But there you go. Prorevenge. I might do a few more on the next video that I make. Thanks for watching.